Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be trying something new that I saw. So basically we're going to be doing a what if civilization started over. As the title suggests, we're just going to see what happens if civilization started over. This is heavily based off Addis Pro. In fact, that is the only inspiration I have. Hold on. Alright, I'm back, sorry about that. Anyway, we're going to be seeing what happens if civilization start over, and yeah, anyway. So first off, we have the red people. Very original, I know. They're going to be starting right here, which I think is a little different from when Addis Pro made it, but yeah. So this is going to be happening over hundreds of years because I feel like not a lot's going to be happening, not a lot of political stuff. They're just going to be spreading around. And they'll actually get to a pretty good size and eventually start thinking of the idea of, wait a minute. Oh crap. Okay, well, what? There you go. Alright. They're going to be eventually, after spreading a significant amount, they're going to be like, hey, what if we had a government? And so they do that. They now basically know that they have a government, and so now they now exist as a political entity. This used to be just a bunch of tribes, but now they're now I'm gonna set it to 2. Their capital is gonna be right here. Actually right there. So now that they're an actual country, they managed to spread around a little bit faster, since the idea gets around that they should expand and make a great nation. This is the first sign of nationalism that the nation people get. So very big, and I'm also gonna make this dot bigger because it's not big enough. There we go. Anyway, back to the thing. They're spreading, they're thinking, the new ideas basically come around, and eventually, with some new technology that they recently discovered, they managed to explore the desert. And so the desert area is becoming a little less of a problem, because now they're kind of like, they're becoming more evolved. Like they're thinking now, and they're actually having good ideas and propositions and whatnot. Basically, they're evolving at a very fast rate, and with them finally connecting after several hundreds of years and hundreds of new rulers, they eventually managed to get all of this peninsula. They basically just they managed to spread to all of this. So now with this massive country, right, there comes conflict. Now, for a while, they've been a very peaceful country, and everybody's pretty much like them. But eventually, there's some new ideas that start spreading around. And so basically, a small little, not revolt, but a small little breakaway state is formed. This is very peaceful. Like, there were talks with the government, and they decided to let most of this part of their country go, because this is the older part of their country, this part isn't as important as up here, since they are discovering resources and it's nicer than down here. So they're willing to let this part of it go. And so now they get their capital. They get their capital 5. Their capital is going to be right here, also on a peninsula. Kind of like them, but only for historical reasons, since that was the other first part of their country. Anyway, so with this breakaway state, they managed to spread out a lot more. Crap. managed to spread out a lot more, and they managed to basically encompass a large amount of technology and stuff. Now, this is going pretty fast, but this is probably taking like hundreds of thousands of years. Well, not thousands of years, but like hundreds of years. But basically, you know what happens. The countries evolve, they get bigger, blah blah blah. And so eventually they reach this part of they reach this part of the country, and since there's no Suez Canal yet, they're just exploring. Sorry about that. All right. They're just exploring this part of the country. That was my heater. I have a heater on right now. Anyway, there you go. And so while these guys are spreading, the blue team is actually having some troubles expanding, and so they decide to get a boat, get across the water, and they make the first kind of colony / settlement right here. It's a big evolution for all of humans, because this is the newest thing that's happened, and so it's pretty crazy. In red, the red team doesn't have this technology yet since they're breakaway state, and so there's some conflict now that's brewing between these two. So the red team decides to continue expanding, to continue to try and conflict with blue team to prove its strength. They decide to grow a little bit more, just to say, hey, we're bigger than you, stay back, get back. And so basically blue team sees this as hostile and also tries to expand elsewhere. So they start a little colony here too. They're basically becoming... What is happening? Anyway, they basically are starting to become more of an island nation, with their main island not having that many population and them spreading across other continents. But with this comes disorganization, because since these guys are spreading all over the place, their population isn't really centralized. And so here comes another problem. And so eventually, after enough time, there's two breakaway states. So there's one here. Does that turn it pink? No, it doesn't. And there's one here. So basically, the blue team is shattering after trying to expand trying to overstretch. And so these new countries also start expanding, like the rest of everybody else, like what everybody else is doing. And the lime team comes across here, goes in here, fills in that. Basically, all the countries are developing. And with the blue team not having much elsewhere to go, they decide, you know what? I don't like these guys. They keep trying to contest me, so we're going to invade them. So they finally decide to invade them, and they start to attack. They push in on all fronts with a very massive invasion. This isn't... Their armies aren't that powerful, but they have them everywhere. So essentially, they're just pushing on all fronts. But with red team being the oldest, they managed to get a massive army and start pushing them back. They actually do a good job in the south right here. Managed to push all the way down here, and then pushing just back generally like that. And with the blue team on the losing side, they decide to go over here and invade like this, and they also explore a little bit more and reach a little bit more out here. So they eventually start invading, and really red, realizing that they're being attacked over here, move troops over here, thus allowing blue to do this encirclement right here. Thus basically collapsing this front on this side. So with this back and forth conflict happening, these two teams don't really want to get involved with it since it's just petty and stupid. So they don't. So the blue team keeps invading and invading and invading, although they get pushed back a lot here. They get pushed back a decent amount in here. In fact, they almost kicked out of the continent over here. But they keep invading over here. And so eventually they manage to push back, but not by a lot. And so eventually they decide to go to terms with peace. And I'll show you what that peace looks like here. And that piece looks a little something like this. So essentially this is the first modern border that they have made. So that's why it looks a little bit weird from these other like very smooth borders. But yeah, this is the first peace deal. And with that, red team decides to move on and continue expanding because that's all it really can do. So they continue exploring and expanding and basically essentially just trying to look and explore the world still. And after that conflict, they continue. They don't really. They kind of disband their army for more explorers. They essentially like stop funding the military and instead just start funding explorers to go out here. And eventually, a new country is created. Hold on. Oh crap! I forgot to give these. Alright, I just forgot to give these guys capitals. So there's one capital right here, one capital right here. The pink team wants to stay as far away as possible from these two. And the lime team just has this border. Anyway, so while this is happening, an expedition team is sent out here. Out over the sea. So basically they go over here. And eventually, they make it to the end. They make it to the edge of the sea, and they manage to go all the way around. And basically, they explore this whole lake. And eventually, some very rebellious humans decide to leave everything else and decide to form their own renegade country over on this area. This renegade country doesn't really have centralization, but its only goal is to find more people like them and essentially just become very, very big and take everything. So they're a conqueror nation with like a dictatorship. And so eventually they're just expanding faster than both the red and blue combined. They're expanding really fast and they cut off them. They get all the resources from the mountains. They're basically very, very much an expansionist country. And the blue doesn't like this. Nope. The blue doesn't like this, so they decide to contest green by cutting them off and continuing to expand out into Anatolia. Yeah. And so this thus starts the political race. Basically, whoever can expand the most, they discover this island. Whoever can discover the most at the end of like a time period wins. And so both the red and the blue and the green teams start expanding faster than they've ever before. So they start going down here, they explore this, they find Crete, they find all these islands. They're basically expanding super fast. Oh my gosh. Okay, they start expanding super fast. With the red team going all the way up here. There we go, going up here. They're just starting a race. And so red team managed to go all the way up here and gets a good foothold on this area. And meanwhile, not knowing that the line team is down here, decides to explore this new continent, quote unquote. Crud. I keep doing that. Anyway, they just try and explore this new continent. They go down here more. And essentially they're just really expanding. This is the fastest probably someone's ever expanded. This probably beats the record of when the green team initially was created. So yeah, the red team's looking pretty massive right now, and the green team is not far behind, starting to expand as fast as the red team too. So with this newfound energy, the green and red team are fighting for who can be the largest. They continue going this way, manage to get much through this, expand outwards, and not that far. Manage to go like that, expand outwards, capture Crimea, go out here. So, by now, both the red and green team are pretty massive, a bit over massive. And these two countries are essentially starting to have troubles maintaining, and so eventually, they just start slowing down. The red team practically the red team stops entirely, while the green team only slows down a little bit, only deciding to expand a small amount. Still taking it slow, but still expanding. So they're reaching down here, cutting off the blue from any more expansions, and essentially just creating a really big empire. Now these two empires, the red empire and the blue and the green empire, are eventually, this is probably like 5,000 years after the initial creation of the red team, and it's pretty crazy. But now is the time for civil war, because these countries cannot stay this large for that long. So essentially, what happens is that these countries will have a bunch of splits in their country. Starting with the red team, they have a very large split over here. And then I already said that. And then they have a bigger split. They have another. Why is that doing that? Whatever. Anyway, the red team has a bunch of splits here. They go up around here, get it around here. No, what? Why are you doing this? What is... Okay, whatever. Alright, whatever. Yeah, so with these big splits, the red team is kind of in shambles right now. And people are going to start prioritizing that. So the line team, the line team decides in their weakened state to see if they can try expanding without them caring much. So the line team expands, and they grow a good amount, and then they stop to chill a little bit. And then the pink team over here also tries to expand a decent amount, with them cutting more into India. That actually looks good. I like that straight line, but no. Anyway, these guys end up growing a large amount as well. The green team, for now, is stable, but won't be for that much longer. And I think that'll do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you all have a Faz-orific day.